Wade is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
What is up, Syndicate members? It's Wednesday again. Every Wednesday, 9 a.m. We're right here live from Austin, Texas. It's me, your faithful friend, Tony Merwin, and the king of Facebook groups himself, the jolly ginger giant, Joe Camper.
We just put them both together now? Is that how that works?
Absolutely.
Can't just be one or the other.
Absolutely.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing start to their week. Hey, real quick, too. I feel like everybody pretty much knows this now, but we need to keep reminding y'all, let StreamYard view your comments. That is in the description of the show. So just click that real quick, and then we can actually get you up on the show. Like our lovely Miss Grace, how are you? We got Hanky here on the show. Again, hope everybody's having an amazing start to their week. I know I am. And I think that's kind of getting into my weekly win is, well, we had softball. And then we had softball last night, too. Merwin came and played with us last night. We lost in a championship on Sunday, but it was good. We finally have like our core squad together. This is my tournament team, guys. And so we're pretty excited about that, getting just a good group of guys and just the community out there. It's pretty cool to see like how, even though it's slow pitch softball, like how just bought in, like these people are into this thing, and really just how friendly everybody is, unless you like freaking hit walk-off home runs on them to end the game, and then like there's fights that break out. But outside of that, everybody's friends. But that's probably my win. Had some fun with softball. Came out last night within the first 30 seconds. Hey, man, we need one. Hit a triple. So, old boy shook the rust off pretty quick. So had some fun. But that's my win. So
you played better that game than you did the actual game that was our team.
I know. I wasted my juice. Yeah. What you got? What's your weekly win? How you doing?
I'm going to go ahead and go with softball. Why not, dude? Because even with my strikeout yesterday, yes, that's right, I struck out in slow speed softball. It's hard to hit it with only 3 tries. But even with that strikeout, I had a base hit around the whole bases, scored a run, even had an opportunity to make a play at home plate. So it was fun. I didn't get hit with the ball. So
we'll take it. That shit hurts too.
Yes, it does. Softball, yeah. Get hit by
softball. Hanky said it. Hey, Hanky's right, too. You strike out, man. That's a case right there. He'll bring it to the HQ. And real quick, y'all, before we bring on our guest, who I'm super excited to bring on, they're a great group of guys. One of them is my uncle, so you guys probably don't know that, but we'll go ahead and just get that out of the way. But before we get to there, hey, Syndicate HQ grand opening, right? That is this Friday. I don't know if you've seen in the event, go check it out. It is in the group. If you just click on the events tab, you'll see it. Grand opening HQ. We're going to have a ribbon cutting. But man, the people that we have coming into town, and Jerry's one of the people that's coming to speak, but I don't know if y'all saw me drop that speaker lineup, but we got Cody Askins, who's flying in to come open up the thing. He'll be here on Friday. We've got John Wetmore. We've got Luke Akery. We've got Medicare Misty. We've got Stephen Guilfoyle. We've got Mr. Merwin. I'm speaking. Jerry Conwell, again, I'll put his name up here, shall be collected Friday as well. He's going to be doing anything specific on trucking and just even more. Dante's coming. So, I mean, we have an action-packed weekend for y'all. We're super excited. So, again, if you're in the greater Austin area, that or shoot, hey, it's Wednesday. You want to make some moves and come hang out. We kick off Friday, 3:30, okay? And we go until we go on Friday, and then the workshops will kick off at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Okay,
There's
so
going
that
to be
is
at
this
least
week.
$1 billion in premium sitting in this office this weekend.
It literally,
Easily.
yeah. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And again, anybody is welcome. Just let us know if you could go find that event so that you can let us know you're coming to it, just so that we can prepare because we've got a bunch of food. I've got a custom dessert truck trailer coming out to where we'll have our own custom menu there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that being said, guys, like I said, this is kind of a shift too. Now they are in insurance on the back end, but this show is going to be more focused kind of everything that they're doing to crush it on the real estate side and how to build a team and really how to just collaborate and come together and find business partners and structure a business that really works. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my uncle Evan Kloth and his business partner Mo Zahedi with Glasshouse Realty. What's going on, y'all?
How's it going?
I got it.
Over here working as we speak, gentlemen, because the grind doesn't stop.
Absolutely.
Let's
Good.
go.
But thanks for having us on here. As Joe said, I'm Mo. This is Evan in real estate over here in Dayton, Ohio. You can't tell because we're sitting, but I'm certainly not Joe's uncle. I'm the shorter of the two over here. So, but as far as our weekly wins, I'd say the big one for Evan and I is our sign finally just went up on our building. We moved into a new location, started the year. It's been super exciting. A lot more room for us to grow and have different events for our agents. And as of yesterday, we're official. It's no longer coming soon. We are here, Glasshouse Realty Group in Dayton.
Glasshouse Realty. Love it.
I was going to say the same thing, man. It's we didn't collaborate before this, but I was definitely thinking that same thing. It's really cool when you can, just kind of build something. And then, of course, we've been a legitimate company, but there's just a different feel when you drive downtown and you see your logo lit up on a building downtown. It's kind of a surreal sort of feeling that's just really sweet. So
very nice. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's got to feel nice when it all comes together, right? And so let's go back. Take us back, and we'll start with Mo, and then we'll go to you, Evan. Who's Mo, right? Who are you? And just kind of give us that 30,000-foot overview.
Sure. So Mo Zahedi, real estate has not always been the game. Much like Evan, I kind of come from a corporate background, but for me, it was always sales, some retail, some a lot of management, into upward management, and just kind of felt like I kept just hitting ceiling after ceiling. Liked what I did when I finally, stopped in the corporate world, like the people I worked with. It was a great community, great industry, great company. But just felt like, every year I was just waiting for that 2%, 3% raise, busting my ass for someone else. And again, good people, but just wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And finally was in a position where I could kind of make that leap into a commission only world, and, was set up where I could give myself the time to succeed, and actually headed out west. I started my real estate journey in Colorado with my brother and my cousin. They're both brokers. Okay. Kind of was the training wheel phase, and spent about 8 months out there just learning, everything they had to offer, and kind of soaking it all up, trying new things, getting outside the comfort zone. And then loved Colorado, but that's not my sphere. And just like you two know, sphere is everything when you're selling. So headed back to Ohio, was only in it for about 6 months. And Evan and I have been friends for over a decade at this point in time. And just started pestering him. He was making all the same, gripes that I was making, as far as, tired for working for someone else, not necessarily getting the reward that he felt he deserved, and kind of got steered away from what drew him to what he was doing in the first place, and just kind of started putting our heads together, literally in a garage, like we were making Microsoft or something, and just saying, hey, let's do this. And that's honestly what started it all. I mean, hanging out in his garage, having a couple beers, talking about changing our lives. And then we did, started with a small office in Dayton, working for someone else, grew that, and just realized we still had some bigger ambitions in front of us. And then came Glasshouse Realty Group.
Why'd you choose real estate when you went out west?
That's a great question. I'd done a lot of different sales at that point in time in my life, but they were always for someone else, and I felt they always had a ceiling. I saw the success my brother was having, and then more importantly, my cousin just saw the opportunities that were in front of him. My brother's a hell of a sales agent. He deals mostly in residential, and he's got a great way of life. I think I'm a little bit more chaotic in what I like to bring into my life than my brother, and my cousin mirrored that. So, I'm watching him flip 80 homes a year, invest in different, commercial aspects while still selling 30, 40, $50 million in real estate, best office in Colorado Springs. And I was like, I want that. I want to be that guy.
Right.
So just went out there and, tried to see what they had to offer. But no, I think it's after being in it for 7 years now, it's an industry where you can't get bored. And that means a lot to me. There's always a new challenge, a new opportunity. You could work this 3 lifetimes and there'd be opportunities that, you never got the chance to take advantage of. So I think that's really what keeps me going.
I love it, man.
Love it.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to hop on the show, man. I do appreciate your time. And we'll be coming back to Mo, and then Uncle E, who are you, man?
Yo.
What you got
Yo,
for
yo.
us?
I'm Uncle E, man. Uncle E. I like most of I come from kind of the corporate world too. I was in higher education, and I really just was one of those that went to college, didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, even after I had that college degree, and went and got a master's degree, and still didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was always pretty effective in school. I'm not saying I was a 4.0 student by any means, but I could get by and have a good time while doing it. So I got into higher ed is when I started, and it was a great thing helping students. I was sitting across the desk from them initially, every day helping them as a counselor. And then I just kept getting promoted and promoted. And before you knew it, I was sitting in meetings all day with a bunch of suits. And most of the time they didn't have a clue what they were talking about. And I didn't feel as if I was directly helping students. So it was time, like most of it was time for me to get out of there, man. It wasn't what I signed up for. Sitting in meetings all day wasn't for me, and answering to somebody wasn't for me. And, going and asking for raises and things like that and trying to justify what you're doing, that wasn't for me either, So just being able to work for yourself. And, I tell people all the time, in real estate or in insurance, I think it is the case as well. If you want to raise, you just work harder, bro. That's it.
Right.
And I like that. I like that. It's limitless potential for anybody in real estate. So Mo and I just kind of try to take what we've learned, and I can still very much be of human service in this industry at the same time. So for me, it's a perfect scenarios. Make as much money as I can and help as many people as I can. So that's what I'm all about personally.
What kind of stuff were you counseling some of the kids on?
Oh, I was like, I was a mental health license in mental health, and also like in school counseling. I had two licenses, so
Ooh.
it was a
Pray
little
for
bit of
those
both
kids.
things, Yeah. And it was and I worked at a large community college, So there was real problems, man. It wasn't, I'm struggling in school kind of stuff. It was a little bit more serious than that. But I wouldn't have mind doing that forever. But like I said, I just reached a ceiling, and then got promoted into these roles where I was literally not sitting across and helping any student directly. So it sucked.
Andy had me bugging him every single day to leave it and come work with me. So he only had so long anyway.
Right. Well,
That's
I
right.
bet you probably took some of that, because in my opinion, some of the best salespeople that I've ever met are actually the best counselors, right? Or advisors, or literally just there trying to help their people, right? And I'm sure you probably took some of that in what you were doing to help these kids, right? Or young adults. I'm sure you probably some of that transferred in to real estate. And so let's go to before really, well, I guess you guys already kind of had your own thing going. So so we're putting our heads together. We're going to start, why the name Glasshouse? Did it start Glasshouse, or I feel like you guys, did it start that way, or kind of what was it that, hey, we're going to do this thing? And when you started, did you start with, it's just going to be us? Or did you start with, like, I was having this conversation, I think it was just yesterday, somebody saying, hey, I'm not ready to bring on a team. I'm not ready to recruit. Right. And I told him, I said, in my opinion, there's a line to draw when, hey, if you know enough, there's nothing more powerful than building a team when you're in the trenches with them. Right. And you're doing the day to day, you're doing the grind. And I know you guys grind, because I know you guys kind of, what was the mission? Like, hey, when I started, it's just going to be us. And it kind of turned into you guys have 80, or I don't know how many brokers you guys have now on the team. Or was it, hey, we want to, like, we're bringing 20 people within the first month? What was some of that?
We were probably a little unique in that sense, just because when I moved back to Dayton, I joined a local brokerage, and the way their setup was, it wasn't a franchise, but it had kind of that franchise feel. We were allowed to kind of create our own office, our own culture, kind of recruit to that, and there was a little bit of, called a profit sharing model within that. So that was honestly kind of the starting point for us. I mean, when Evan and I were hanging out in a garage having a beer, talking about getting into real estate, we were just two guys that were going to go out and sell homes and, start a new career and kind of work together as friends. When we opened the office downtown under this other brokerage and, started recruiting other like-minded agents, friends, and not working alongside of us in the sense that they were a team, but essentially coming into the office, doing their own thing. But we very rapidly kind of started producing this organic culture of, just like-minded hustlers who wanted to get in there, change their lives. A lot of them were kind of our age and, entering a new career. Also very willing to help each other, which was kind of a new face to real estate. It's otherwise been a very guarded, industry where it's like, hey, you can't see my stuff, you're going to steal it.
Right.
And I think that just kind of started lending into what became Glass House. We very quickly started attracting people. We grew that office rapidly within about a year and a half. And that's when we kind of just, I think, sat down across the table and we're like, hey, there was nothing wrong with that brokerage. They were very kind to us. They were good people, had a lot of, good people we worked alongside there. We just realized we could do something a little bit different. And that was ours, our brand, our culture, and just, ground up Evan and Mo's. So I think that's really kind of what birthed Glass House for us.
Is there any symbolic or symbolism behind the name Glass House? I feel like there is.
Evan and I were just consistently, I guess I should adamantly that we wanted to be transparent, not just to our clients, which is obviously first and foremost. Those are the people we're taking care of day in and day out, but also to the agents. Real estate in general is kind of an antiquated model, in my opinion. You've got a lot of brokerages that lean on the idea of real estate from 30, 40 years ago, the pre-internet era, where, people were getting together and looking through a book. And, if you weren't in the biggest and baddest office in the area, you weren't privy to listings or anything like that. Now it doesn't matter if you're a one-man show or if you work for Coldwell or Keller Williams or Glass House, you're going to get the same visibility online that every single other realtor has. But you still got these very large national, corporate real estate offices that hamstring the realtors and say, hey, you need to give us 50, 40, 30% of your commission because of our brand, our name. Well, that name isn't what's selling homes for those people. They're just, they're literally just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like undercutting their own agent from day one and being like, hey, you're not a good sales rep. We're a great branded company. And if you come work for us, you're going to have success. Evan and I are the exact opposite. We're like, hey, you're a hell of a salesperson. Why don't you keep most of your money and come work for us?
Right.
And I think, Glass House really leans on the fact that we wanted to be open and honest as far as what we offer and what we're providing.
Excellent. We see that same stuff in the insurance world, right? For years, it's been very restrictive. And then over the last couple of years, that transparency has started to grow. And, thankfully with the advent of the internet, it's easy to get information nowadays versus like it used to be, right? It was easy to hide things from your sales reps, but not so much anymore.
Absolutely. How are you going to charge someone a technology fee when it doesn't actually cost you any money anymore? You know what I mean? Like you got people in here still charging $0.25 to print something. I'm like, all right, let's back off this, gentlemen.
Right. Well, and I tell people this too is, it's branding yourself. Right. And a lot of and especially we have some captive agency listeners in this too. And it's even in that space, I don't care the company backing, you always brand yourself, right? Because people do business with people. People don't do business with Redwood. Now, Redwood supports me and what I'm offering, right? But people do business with Joe, and then Redwood's just backing it. And I also say that too is you ever decide to make a pivot or a career change or whatever, and all of your client base, your sphere, right? That center of influence is all because of a brand, right? And it's not you. Well, you just lost all that, right? Because now they're associating that to the brand and not yourself. So I always tell people that is, brand yourself. The product is just the product, right? I wanted to ask you guys, obviously I'm a family business, right? In business with my pops. So for you guys being friends for a decade, what has it looked like to start a business? And are there things that you had to put in place as business partners because of the friendship or what? Because I know that we have some people, and I think that's really just a thing that's happening more often now. It's really that strategic partnerships, right? Where it's hey, we have been friends, but it doesn't make sense for us to not do business together. But then you bring friendship into that. Has there been anything there that you guys have put in place to kind of keep that relationship solidified? And still, obviously, you guys are doing amazing freaking work in the real estate side. You guys are killing it. Anything in particular, or just, nah, man, we're getting after it?
And we really haven't too much. I mean, we probably need to. It'd probably be advantageous for us to designate, hey, you're in charge of this and you're in charge of this. And that kind of happens organically, I guess, a little bit with Mo and I. But I mean, for the most part, we just hit the ground running, and there was never really a point in time where it's like you're over this side of the house and you're over this side of the house. We've just kind of been, and we both do different things, just sort of naturally, but not. We've never just designated things, and we've been lucky, I think, too. It's hard to get into business with anybody, let alone a friend or a family member. There's always that chance that things could go awry. But man, we've just been fortunate, and I think we've been in, like, I don't even remember what it was, but and you might remember, Mo, what we were even got in an argument about one time. I don't even remember what it was about, but
I can tell you it was stupid, and it's only happened once in, going on 7 years of working together. Every single one of my family members said, don't have a business partner. They're like, you don't need it. My dad's cliche go-to comment is, God didn't have a business partner. Why do you need a business partner? But no, it's been the best damn thing that, ever decided on. I mean, I would quote us as, yin and yang. Where my weaknesses are, it's Evan's strengths, and where Evan's weaknesses are, I feel like they're my strengths, and we just kind of picked up on that organically. I mean, really, again, very fortunate, but it's not like we ever really designated roles or anything like that. It's just we just kind of fell into these different roles and ran with it, and it's been amazing. Again, I don't ever have to question what he's doing. He never has to question what I'm doing. Again, I think there's that as well. Oftentimes when you get into business with someone, the concern is, are they going to work as hard? And I think that the example for Evan and I is the first 2 years when we were really just doing sales, we tracked everything, and we tried to keep everything pretty fair. If Evan sold his sister or brother a house, that was Evan's money. If I sold my sister or brother a house, that was my money. If we had a mutual client that came through a lead source, we split that money, and we tracked that to the T, or to the penny rather. And by the end of year 2, we realized, we were getting pulled in different directions, especially as we opened Glasshouse, and that necessarily we couldn't both be there at the, for the sales. But our sales numbers were always the same. We never were worried that one person wasn't working. And at this point in time, we just split everything 50-50. There are nights where I'm working till 9 o'clock. Evan's got to be with the kids. The next day, I'm out doing whatever. Evan's working all day. Like it's just, there's never a question there. And I think that's the important part.
Yeah. Right. Sounds like you guys have a pretty unified vision as far as what you're trying to create, what you're doing, right where you're headed, which makes it easy, I guess, to have that faith in each other, because that we're both working for the same reason, same purpose. So I don't have to question each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, our goals have been the same from day one, and that's just, we're both like-minded. We both don't mind working hard. We understand that that's what it's going to take to be on top, and I think that's just always been our goal: grow, dominate, be relevant, and do well by our agents and our clients. So that's the idea.
Love it. Well, let's stay there. So let's kind of shift to team building, right? And how many agents do you guys have with Glasshouse now?
We just ran over 100, so we're very proud of that. You can put that in the win column as well, gentlemen.
Hey, absolutely. There you go, over 100, baby. I love that, dude. So let's stay there. So outside of, you talk about compensation. So obviously the broker model is going to be a lot different than your captive type setups, right? So you guys have a little bit more wiggle room there. You want to pay your agents, right? You want to be transparent with your clients, but you brought up culture, right? And so I definitely want to talk about culture, but then I want to talk about really what you guys have done to build, literally, and whether it's marketing, whether it's, I know it's compensation, is some of that, it's culture. What are all those things that you guys have been able to encompass to build a team of 100 people?
I guess so there's 2 aspects to real estate, right? So with the brokerage, not necessarily that they're our team, because many of these operate, many of these agents operate independently. Although we do have some, rather successful teams underneath of us. But I think it goes back to, what Evan mentioned, what you mentioned, which is our culture. A lot of our growth has been organic. And I think Evan would agree with that. We're starting to get more into, intentional recruiting and reaching out and trying to grow in that fashion. But, just going back to our first days in, the old office, it was the fact that we were willing to help the other agents. We were willing to teach them what, where we'd failed, where we succeeded, share those stories. There was no, you can't come into my office, you can't see what's going on. Anyone who walks into our office, we trust, completely. Like there's no issues there. And I think that builds a lot. People want camaraderie in the office. They want someone that they can trust that's going to be there. Evan and I, our phones are always on. If we're not sleeping and we're not with a client, we're there to field phone calls, and we've never lost touch with our agents. I think a lot of these other brokerages, you're meeting with a recruiter only. You get these salesy phone calls where they don't pronounce your name, they don't know who you are, and they're like, "Do you want to meet with Mr. So-and-so in a week?" And that's the only time you meet your broker. Evan and I are, kind of to your point earlier, we're in the trenches. We're there every day. We meet with our agents. We assist them with whatever they need alongside of our trainer. We don't just kind of push them off. And I think that's what's helped us to grow. That, and of course, the money. That's Evan's favorite part to talk about. We're going to let you keep that. We don't nickel and dime you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Money's not everything by any means, but man,
Right.
some of these companies take, for like we were mentioning earlier, some of these folks take, 50% or 50 cents out of every dollar you make. And at the end of the day, you're not selling a house because you work with whomever.
Sure.
It's all about you. And I tell people when they come in, just very bluntly, like, you're not going to be successful and sell a bunch of houses because you work at Glasshouse. That's, you're going to sell because you're Nick, and people trust you, and that's what's going to make you successful. So you might as well just go work somewhere where you keep that money in your pocket that you earn and you have a good experience. And
And you're surrounded by good people. We offer all that same stuff. We offer the trainings, the technology, everything that they need to succeed. You get a lot of these companies these days, I call them the cloud-based brokerages, that pop up and they're like, "Hey, come work with us. You keep 100% of your commission." And in theory, that sounds good. But when you read the fine print, they nickel and dime you as well. They catch you on the back end. It's 100% commission, but their transaction fees are outrageous, or, some other catch. But then there's no support. When you want to call your broker, or when, shit hits the fan and you don't know what's going on, you're reaching out to some guy, 7 cities away that doesn't even really understand real estate, just got licensed so that they could check, the box of broker for some company in the state. And you got no support. There's no camaraderie. There's no agents to chat with. There's no feeding off that motivation or anything like that. So, we sit right there in between as far as, keep more of your money, but still have all those amenities and needs to be successful.
Right. And Evan, you said something earlier about relevancy. So you're talking about being relevant, right? And that's kind of another part of building. Because I think you guys have done an amazing job of being relevant. And I can't remember what was that magazine that you were on the cover of, like the 40 under 40 or something like that. What was it and like you're on the cover of that magazine for Ohio, like balling out and all tattooed up and stuff, not looking like the typical guy that's on the cover of the magazine, but it was relevant. I mean, how many agents do you think you probably got out of that? It's like, oh man, like this dude actually looks down to earth. Like I think I'd be down to work with them. Like,
well, I think that was Playgirl magazine, if we're being honest, but I don't really remember. But it could have been something like that. But I don't know. To us, relevancy, we just want to control the Dayton market and then obviously grow into Cincinnati. We're close to Cincinnati, so it's kind of an easy corridor to kind of bridge into. But there's like 250 real estate brokerages in Dayton, Ohio alone.
wow.
So, and those range from the international companies to, just Joe Smith, who's got a broker's license and might have somebody working for him, but to us, just kind of controlling market share or growing in market share, and just kind of being one of the, if you're even just a top 10 company out of 250, you're doing something right. So, in a very short time, we first opened, you get people, "Oh, a glass door, what's glass door?" And it was like, man, but we become relevant. And as a matter of fact, I was telling Mo, I was at like a University of Dayton basketball game a few weeks back, and I had a hat similar to this one on. I don't know if it was this one, but someone came up and, and just introduced themselves or whatever to me and asked what I did. And then they looked at my hat And they're like, "Oh, you're Glasshouse." And it doesn't say Glasshouse on here. It's just simply our main logo thing. You know what I mean? But that was the first time that someone had ever like just
Out of
recognized
nowhere.
our brand
Yeah.
like that. And man, I was geeked.
Yeah, I bet.
I was geeked up because of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think just brand recognition is one thing, but we want to be known as like the good guys. The cool dudes, the good guys who are going to take care of everything and have a lot of fun with you while they're doing it. So.
You had mentioned earlier a lot of y'all's growth in regards to your agent base was organic. Is that organic through warm market or organic just from making a lot of noise out there as the good guys? And then people are seeing that and they're attracted to that and they're like, hold on, let me go see what these guys are about.
I think a little bit of everything, to be quite honest. I mean, number one, good agents beget good agents. We've got some fantastic people that work for Glass House, and they're out there every single day. I mean, they're the ones who truly represent the brand and spread the word. So, when they're closing 100, 200 deals a year, they're meeting all kinds of other agents. And, that piques the question. They keep seeing these fantastic agents close deals, and they're sitting across the closing table with them. And they're like, wait, what is Glass House? Who is Glass House? What do they have to offer? Why'd you go there? You're fantastic. And that sparks a lot of questions. That and the fact that, again, we were something new. We weren't that same old house design, on the logo. We weren't someone's last name. We weren't this national brand that takes all your money. It was something new and it was sexy. I mean, we're proud to say that. I mean, that was adamant. We wanted a brand that people wanted to put on a sign. God, when I was in Colorado, and I won't bring up the name just for my brother and my uncle's or my cousin's sake, but their logo was hideous. It was this ugly ass stop sign, and I'm like, man, like, yeah, it's gonna get attention, but not in a good way. I don't want that in a yard. I don't want my name attached to that. So no, I think it's mostly the agents that we have. We brought something new. We brought something different, and then to Evan's point, we had such rapid growth. It's hard for people not to pay attention, I think. So.
Right. Said. Obviously, we've had some economic challenges the last couple of years. Has any? I don't know what the Dayton market is like. I don't know what the Cincinnati market is like that y'all are trying to expand into. But did you find some challenges in the last 3 years in regards to one, being able to be an effective real estate agent with some of the weird stuff that's been going on in the economy and the real estate market? Number two, did you find any problems recruiting agents, or did that give you a better opportunity to recruit agents because of the economic downturn?
We really didn't see too much of any hiccup with our business. We continued to grow every year. This year was a bit down just because of mainly because of interest rates and everyone freaking out about the rates. But the market in Dayton has been fantastic. And I guess to your point, Tony, I mean, when times do get tough, I think people do kind of stop and think like, hey, I could be, making $30,000 more a year just by signing a piece of paper, not by doing anything differently or working any harder or any less, and just by working with a different company. So there is opportunity there, I guess, when there is a bit of a downturn. I think it kind of opens people's eyes a bit. But we were fortunate. COVID didn't hurt real estate in Dayton at all. The economy now is still thriving. And we're looking forward to honestly having a really, really great year this year again. So.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Evan said. I think the only challenge we face in a market that's been this insane is the fact that everyone's got a friend who thinks they're an economist or a realtor, and they're neither. They're usually like a nurse or something like that, a doctor, whatever. So constantly kind of educating people that this is not 2006. This has nothing to do with what happened in the mid 2000s. That our real estate economy isn't collapsing because of predatory lending or poor appraisals or anything like that. It's just simply basic economics. We're dealing with supply and demand. We lost 10 years of building because of 2008, and you got a lot of people trying to move now, and there's not enough homes for them. So when you got 15 buyers all looking at the same house, things get a bit hectic. And I think that's probably the challenge is, helping people find something affordable, and then coaching them, because oftentimes, if they're not your friend, if this isn't your direct sphere, you're coaching someone on one of the biggest decisions, and then you're having to explain to them why it's advantageous for them to pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over what they're asking on a house. And that's a difficult conversation to have with someone who you just met, 20 days ago, especially again, when they got an economist in their ear telling them that, the world's ending. So, but no, Evan's right. More or less, it's been a fantastic market, and I think that's helped with our growth.
Yeah.
Would you say
And I
it's a
think
good
that
time to
has,
buy a house in Dayton?
I always think it's a good time to buy a house, and that's not just because I'm a realtor, Tony. I mean, all things remaining equal, and I think if you watch the timeline, houses only appreciate.
Right.
There's certain outside economic factors that can play into that. Wars, elections, interest rate spikes, et cetera. Certainly, 2008 taught everyone that you can go into a lull. But look what happened when we came out of it. We're watching home prices double in just, a matter of 3-4 years in certain areas. Land is finite. So if you
Yep.
want to live in a certain area, there's only so much of that area. So unless something happens to just completely demolish that space. And then as you kind of see, even with, like a Detroit, for example, went to the wayside for years. Now it's booming. You know what I mean? So, home ownership is not always an investment. That's the first thing I explain to everybody. You know what I mean? But you're not paying someone else to live there. And, all things considered, if things remain equal, there's a chance you could get most of your money back, if not make some money.
Expand on that. Home ownership is not always an investment.
I think people think that just because, it is a big commitment, you're putting a lot of money down, but unless you're going into purchasing a home with the mindset of flipping it or, that you're going to profit off of this, it's a place to, put yourself every day, raise your family, without having to pay rent. Rent certainly isn't going to get you anything in return outside of a roof over your head. You're paying someone else and that money never comes back. But if you go buy $100,000 house and have to sell in a year, when you look at the fees and things that are associated with that, you're probably going to end up only netting 95,000 on the back end, if you sell it for around the same price. But during that time period, all that money was going to what, you owned. It wasn't going to your landlord anymore. So I think people go into it, the idea, because this market has been so insane and the prices have escalated so quickly, that they're going to be able to buy a house for 300 and in 2 years it's going to be worth 360. That might be the case right now, but that's not the norm. And I think that's also, we're seeing a lot of that. People are saying, well, I know what they paid for it 2 years ago. I'm not paying this. And it's like, well, what they paid for it 2 years ago is irrelevant. That has to do with the market, the demand, et cetera. But yeah, homeownership, it can be an investment, but you got to be looking at it from that perspective when you're purchasing.
It's good. We have a question. I'm going to come back to that, Hank, so don't worry. I wanted to real quick just spend a few minutes because I think, especially in, we'll call it a quote unquote downturn, right? Even though it obviously wasn't for you guys, I think that also when you're going through those things and you're still able to grow, right? A lot of that's through relationships, and it's not just the relationships with the clients, right? Like obviously you have good relationships with clients if they're coming in, but how are you getting in front of these clients? And so I kind of wanted to talk. I had, the ability to come up there and spend some time with you guys, got to hang out with y'all's kind of mortgage partner. Let's talk a little bit about that and the synergy in that relationship, because I think like that's our gold mine. All insurance people want to do is get in with the mortgage person, right? So, and I think how you guys got your foot in the door would actually translate directly to an agent trying to have and foster that relationship with somebody like with what you guys have going.
Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of quickly realized, well, that's the whole basis of getting into the insurance game to begin with. Mo and I, well, as a company, I guess we probably, I don't know, I guess last year we probably did around like 1,200 deals or something like that. And probably more buy side than sell side, just like naturally. So let's just say 800 of those, just for to throw a number out there, were buyers. Many of them were first time home buyers. So Mo and I are sitting there thinking to ourselves, like, man, like these, especially first time home buyers, they're so impressionable. They don't really know what to do. They're just told by their lender, to your point, Joe, that, hey, you got to have a property insurance in place before we close on this house. So Mo and I were sitting there thinking, like, man, we're leaving a lot of money on the table here, that we could be, not only making money, but also helping people with that decision as well. So, but like you said, the easiest way to do that is to get in through the lenders, because realtors oftentimes aren't the ones that say, hey, you got to call and get this insurance
And how did you create that relationship? How did you get y'all's foot in the door because I mean that's like a partnership damn near, but not even really a relationship. It's like a partnership you guys have with them.
Kind of going back to Evan's point, a lot of people, this is first time purchase, maybe it's second time, but it's a big investment. Our goal is to make sure that they have all the resources to get from the start line to the finish line without any hiccups. You get a lot of people in their ear. Heck, now people can, when you get your credit pulled, they get hounded by 80,000 different lenders, depending on if they protect that or not. And so our goal was to give them the resources of people we trusted. So when we reached out to the people we partner with currently, mortgage-wise, it was because they had a reputable name in the industry. We knew several of the lenders. We knew they were trustworthy, that they were coaching people in the right direction. And so we just approached them and we said, hey, we know who you are, you know who we are. I think we could be better together here, and we could serve our clients that much better by working together. And to Evan's point, insurance kind of organically fell into that. We had the lender relationship. We've already got the clients, obviously, and it's like, okay, what else can we provide to our clients to make this a smooth transaction, a happy transaction with people they trust? Again, most importantly,
Right.
You all obviously know the insurance world much better than we do, but little things matter when you're buying a house. That the income ratio could be off by literally $30 a month, and it could be that insurance premium that's affecting it. And when you got two different people that aren't working together, you're not going to solve that problem. But when we can bring the real estate agent, the lender, and the insurance provider all together and have a conversation and say, hey, we're going to go with that $2,000 deductible for right now because we need to get this loan closed, and we want you to be in your house on the closing date and, have that success. And then afterwards, we're going to sit down, we're going to revisit, and we're going to come back, and we're going to see if $2,000 deductible is actually what makes sense for you, now that we're closed and we've moved on. So
see, look at that. You say you don't know anything about insurance. That's a smart insurance comment right there, Mo. I'll give you props on that, dude.
That's just my real estate knowledge speaking, Joe.
Right. That's true. It probably translates over. I want to highlight this, y'all, because there's so many insurance agents that are like, I can't find any referral partners, right? Or I can't find any realtors, this, or this. You know what they did, guys? They approached them. How many people are you going to see, right? You're sitting here talking about now you can do some of that online. Obviously, you guys know a lot of what I do is through social media, and you can get in front of people there, but go approach them. Go to their office, right? Be like, hey, we see you guys, and and give them a compliment to their face. And not only a compliment, but what's basically the best compliment is doing business together, right? And giving them business. And in return, when you give them business, they give you business. But I love that you said that because there's so many people, I guarantee you, hey, the reason you don't have enough referral partners is because you're not approaching enough people and asking them if they think it would make sense in their synergy there, right? And I'm sure you see that on your end, Marwin. How many people wish they had all those clinic or the doctor's office and stuff for those referrals, and they ain't been to a single one?
Wish in one hand and spit in the other one. Tell me which one fills up first. That's what my grandmother used to say, man. You got to prospect. If you want referral partners, you got to prospect. It's no different than finding recruits, than finding clients. It's the same thing. You got to go talk to people, meet people, and prospect.
I think getting out of your comfort zone is the key to that success. I mean, it's your Uncle E's superpower, Joe. This man doesn't know a stranger. He'll cross an entire restaurant, interrupt the dinner, and shake a hand with someone he met 20 years ago. There's no awkwardness in it for him, and it's why he's so successful in that world. It took me some getting used to. When I was in Colorado, my uncle made me go door knocking because I didn't have a sphere out there, and the only two people I know were in real estate. And I was like, I'm absolutely not doing that. And he's like, you absolutely are. And I was like, well, I guess I don't really have a choice because I don't have an income anymore. And if that's what it takes, that's what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, sometimes you just got to do what makes you feel uncomfortable, but it's the only way you're going to get something.
Come on. I like that. Real quick, you guys know Hanky too. What are a couple tips you'd give people who are currently renting and looking to buy a home?
Goodness.
Stop renting and buy a home.
Yeah. Those are the two best tips if we're being honest.
There's two tips for you, Alex.
Gold.
No, I mean, he's right. I don't think people realize how much they could afford with what they're paying in rent. Evan and I are mind boggled by the rents that are, we're seeing in downtown Dayton. We got apartments going up with 600 square feet renting for almost $1,100, which is wild to me anywhere, but it's certainly wild for Dayton. There's probably some cities that are like, damn, I wish I had that. But
Austin,
$1,100 a month is $150,000 house, $175,000 house in Dayton, Ohio. And when you start paying $2,000, $2,500 a month, it's amazing what you could afford to have in the size of the home you could have and a yard for your dog to run around and your kids to play. And I think people are obsessed with this idea that they need to put 20% down. I don't know about you all's parents, but I come from a world where you're not supposed to have any debt. You pay off all your bills. You put 20% down. You pay your house off as quick as possible. I think there's such a thing as good debt. Leverage your money. If you can afford it and you're not overspending, you can get a house with as little as 3% down. So I think it's just looking at the opportunities, again, approaching someone, having a conversation, and learning what options are available for you. You might just be spending that money because, unfortunately, you don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like to Mo's point, a lot of people have more spending power than they think. Like when they go to a lender and they're thinking, well, I could probably get approved for this amount, but they just don't understand how it all works. So oftentimes we find that people have much more spending power than they think they do. That could take them out of that rental and kind of zero them in on home ownership if they just knew.
Take that same question that Hanky asked and then flip it to someone who's looking at getting into home investing, right? Or real estate investing for the first time. They have their first home, got a ton of equity in it, and they're thinking, hey, maybe I can turn some of that equity into a second or third home and start running rentals or start flipping houses, something like that. If somebody's thinking about that, what would you tell them right up front? Like, do this or don't do this.
Stop going to seminars and talk to someone who's done it. There's so many of these crackpots out there, call me today or come to my seminar. I'm going to teach you how to make money with other people's money and blah, blah, blah. And, next thing you know, you're chasing your grandma for their IRA and you don't even know what the hell you're doing. I would say the same thing. Go talk to someone who's actually done it. Get some actual, advice, because there's a million different ways to invest in real estate. You can flip homes, you can rent them. There's different ways where you can go renovate a property, have it rented, and get all your money back and walk away. And you don't have a single penny invested in this house. You still got 20% or more equity, and it's cash flowing positively. Real estate investment is endless. Again, it's one of the reasons I love this industry. But I went to my cousin. He was the man. I didn't need to go to a seminar. I didn't need to read a book. This man was tried and true, and I just soaked up as much as I possibly could.
That's good.
Find someone who's done it and learn from them.
It's funny.
You guys own a church too, right?
Yeah. Don't bring up the church, Joe.
That's where they get their organic recruits.
Idea at the time. Yeah, it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, that's the organic recruits. We get them from weddings and church. That's funny.
It's funny. I see the same themes going through this show that I keep hearing in insurance. Go find a real mentor that's actually done it. Quit listening to the Facebook experts or the seminars or just the books, right? Go find someone who's laid the groundwork. Learn how to be transparent with your recruits. Don't pigeonhole them, hamstring them. Like it's weird because it's all the same things that we talk about with some of the leaders in insurance that we're hearing the exact same stuff from you guys.
And to add to that, Tony, I would say be authentic to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure you guys would agree. I mean, I see Joe over here being himself, you being yourself, I think you get pigeonholed by a lot of these companies that go back to these, 1950 sales tactics where it's, a numbers game. Make 100 calls today, make 100 calls tomorrow, make 100 calls the day after, and you're going to get at least one person that says they want to buy. You're absolutely right, but I think that's the least organic relationship you could possibly build. If you're out there being yourself, if you're working your sphere, you're being who you are and you're hustling, you're still trying to get those same contacts, but you're doing it the way you represent yourself best. If you come across in a suit every day, but you're a sweatsuit type guy, you're not going to be any more confident because you're wearing a suit. You're going to look goofy as hell and be awkward. You know what I mean? I'm not saying go to work in a sweatsuit. But my point is be yourself and earn that business.
You hear that, Austin? That's good, man. That's good. Real quick too, real quick question before we wrap up. Was there any investment towards marketing, which I believe there was, or was it just all referrals? And I think you guys have a nice, healthy mix of that, right? Because you guys, if you guys go look them up, they have some actually killer marketing. My favorite one is y'all rolling up. It'd be a lot cooler if you did. And it's like you guys are in your costumes and everything. You guys are awesome. What was the marketing spend on that? Do you guys have a marketing budget per month that you've set, or is it kind of more based off of opportunities? What's that look like?
Evan and I's first play at a marketing grab was we met with a lender and we were like awkward as hell going to lunch, asking this dude for $300 a month to put, to contribute toward our Zillow spend for a lead source. fast forward 5 years later, and I think we were spending $25,000 a month for, incoming leads to feed a team of 7, doing 40 plus million a year in sales. So we've thrown all the money at marketing. I think it just goes back to being intentional. What's going to be that best grab? Evan's the brains behind our little billboard with all the funny ads, man. That's the one you're talking about, Joe, and that's been hilarious. Yeah. But we've tried a little bit of everything.
Yeah, but that one gets the most attention. Just the stupid ones. That
isn't that funny?
Most of the. I mean, I'm sure people that know it's just like they look forward to seeing that billboard changeover and how stupid. But it's catchy, people remember stupid stuff like that. It's honestly been our most effective billboard, and we've had billboards all over town, but no one says anything about those.
Right. It's like John, a buddy of ours, John Wetmore. He's actually flying into town. He's amazing dude. I mean, his agency is freaking top notch. I mean, it's insane how much production they do out of his agency, and so, but he's obviously active on social media, like growing that way, right? And he puts out so much killer content that would like actually help agents. And then it's like very minimal interaction on some of them, but then he posted a picture of how somebody delivered a bag of shit to his house and it went like viral. And he goes, that's what goes viral? A bag of shit on my doorstep? Like, what about all the stuff that I'm actually giving you value on, Yeah. It's like, you're right, though. That does pop.
Man, this has been really enjoyable. Thank you guys for having on. Well, we want to wrap it up here in a little bit because we want to try to keep it under an hour and be respectful of everybody's time. But I am curious about something, considering that Dayton is a little under an hour away from Palestine. I'm wondering what's going on in Palestine, not necessarily from a political, that's not what I'm asking, but how do you think that might affect what y'all do in real estate, that train wreck?
Thank God we're more like 3.5 hours away from there.
Are you that far away? Okay.
Yeah,
I literally had never heard of Palestine, Ohio,
until the train wreck happened.
Most of us were like, why are we talking about the Middle East? It's luckily I don't know that it's affected us. Now, if you ask my girlfriend, she'd say the opposite. She hasn't done anything but research this since it happened. She's concerned our waters, affected all that, but Dayton's on an aquifer, which is nice. We've got our underground water. We're not feeding off that. But the short answer is I don't know that it's really popped onto our local radar yet. I mean, it's certainly all over the news and everyone's talking about it, but I don't know that Dayton's going to be directly impacted by it.
Yeah, I didn't know if that might affect home prices in some way, or I was just kind of
certainly up in Columbus. I'm wondering what'll happen because Columbus has got a huge deal going on. They've got that Intel plant coming in, which is going to be a multi-billion-dollar deal, and that's east of us, not so much north, but certainly closer. And I don't know how that would impact someone, like that, but I don't know. It's crazy.
So what's next on the Glasshouse horizon?
I think just keep doing what we're doing. Our goal is to grow.
200 agents.
Yeah, absolutely. We got licensed in Kentucky last year. We're going to try to get licensed in Indiana this year and just keep moving forward and doing what we do best, which is attract good agents and grow.
Right on. Well, certainly thank you guys for joining us, man. This has been a huge pleasure. It's great meeting both of y'all. Certainly wish y'all the best of luck out there. And as far as our viewers go, man, thank y'all for tuning in. We are here every Wednesday live. We're bringing on great guests. We're trying to expand a little bit, bring on some other peeps. Give y'all some, even though the different industry, you're hearing some of the same themes out there, right? Be transparent. Don't be a tool bag. Be authentic with your people. Take good care of them. And as we've already said, people do business with people, not brand names so much.
Right. Hey, and it's the middle of the week, y'all. It's the peak of the week. Keep grinding, right? Get out there. And hey, here's my challenge. Luke Akery always does a challenge on his Monday Mindset Call. My challenge is go approach somebody new today. How about that? Go approach somebody that you don't know. Go shake their hand and go and foster some relationships, right? So appreciate y'all. Again, grand opening, Syndicate HQ. We're kicking off Friday at 3:30. We've got workshops on Saturday kicking off at 9. That's this week. Anybody, you guys are more than welcome. And appreciate you, Mo. Appreciate you, Uncle E. And I hope everybody has an amazing rest of their week. See you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Take care.
Later.